feels like it has very little CC, no utility, and very, very high effort to get mediocre damage. Ah, I'm weaving! I don't see the point of this. That's how I feel about Weaver. I don't understand why it is. Sorry, Weavers. We are here today to revisit the question, was I wrong about Weaver? No. All right, hey everyone, Muckluck here, and today we are for the first time revisiting one of the I Tried videos. For those that don't know, we have got a series on the YouTube channel. Maybe you're new here and you've just been living under a rock, something like that. We've got a series on the YouTube channel where I say I tried, and then I show a class that I don't usually play. And we've made dozens and dozens and dozens of these. And they are always really well received. Like over here is the views, over here is likes versus dislikes. I know YouTube hid dislikes, but if you don't have a certain Chrome extension, they do it really well. Like usually 98 to 99% of the people that watch it like the video. We have a new all-time low with only 97% liking this. You know, still pretty good, but there's 19 Weavers that are upset with me. And I got some DMs from quite a few people, and including some crows of the snowy variety that are like, hey, Muck, we love your work, or I hate you, or I'm gonna weave your kneecaps if you don't fix this. And it said, essentially, I don't think you gave Weaver a fair try. Now, I think it's completely okay for me to try something and not like it. However, I detest misinformation. So if they thought I didn't try it fairly, I was willing to listen to that. And I chatted with them for a while. And we came up with a few bullet points of things that I effectively did wrong, and what I could make some simple changes to fix. Now, we went over those bullet points, and one, it was to try the build that had a warhorn instead of a dagger in its hand. One was to use Weave Self. Okay, now this was my mistake. I had a gross misunderstanding of Weave Self. I thought that Weave Self only kicked in and did stuff if you finished the full thing. You visited all 4 elements. However, as it turns out, it's just, I misunderstood this very complex tooltip. You get a buff for every element you visit, and you get another buff if you visit all the elements. So it is apparently worth using even if you're bad at it. Whereas before, what I did is I was bad at it and I swapped to Fire Elemental because I was just like, I don't trust myself with this monstrosity. Now, how did I end up coming to the conclusions that I did in the last video? I want to share that so people understand my thought process. Not that it excuses it, but I think it's worth saying. So whenever I make one of these videos, I'm like, all right, I'm trying out, Weaver today or Dragon Hunter, whatever. I'm trying out a class I don't main. I'm gonna go to people that main it. Now, I am very fond of Guild Gen, builds with Guild Gen and Valen because I like how they write these out. I can be someone who doesn't play this class and read Air 3, Fire, Air 4, Fire 2. This makes sense to me. Whereas Snow Crows, who are also extremely intelligent people, if they tell me to hit Weave Self, Wildfire, Lightning Storm, Quantum Strike, Lightning Orb, Flame Uprising, Pyro Vortex, Cauter, Rising Strike, Fire, Swipe, Searing Slash, Lava Skin, Earth, and Vortex, I have to Google every freaking one of those and translate it like this, all right? I have to do a translation. And when I first came to this page and I saw, literally, rotation, first thing I see is this right here. And it is a 3-page long Weave Self thing. This is before we even get to the loop, okay? I was like imagining translating all this, and I knew it was going to take me a very big time investment before I even started pressing buttons. And I was like, I can't today. I just can't today. And I just went to other places for my information and found stuff that I was told was not optimal. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it again. So I'm gonna hit Weave Self anytime it lights up. I am going to change the offhand weapon to a Warhorn, and I'll try that out. And I will try this again and see how it goes. So, this time we went down here, and I tried to do this rotation right here. And one thing I found kind of odd is like this stuff was down here because some of this could have been up here. Anyway, I tried to do all of this. I made myself a little cheat sheet, and I tried my best to follow it, and on my best attempt, now granted, I wasn't doing it quickly. There is a big part of this rotation where you have to wait on auto chains. Now, this has never come up in one of my videos before. I've never shared this. I really don't like doing that. I did it. I did it for this, but here's the thing. When you're waiting on an auto chain, like if it's like, okay, I need to go into fire, and then I do, fire 3, and then I do 2 auto chains. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's an auto chain, all right? So it's basically you not doing anything. You don't press buttons, you watch your character and wait for them to finish whatever they're doing. I kind of file that under fishing in my brain. It's time spent not playing the game. So my least favorite elements was like when I would go into air and I would just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'd swap out of air. My favorite element was when I was in fire and I would hit 4 buttons, then leave fire because I was actually pressing keys. So this rotation had a very heavy use of auto chains. Like a big part of the damage was auto chains. In fact, out of curiosity, on one of our attempts, we tried just autoing and rapidly changing elements to see what would happen, and it was 20k. We might have found an LI Weaver. But I did try to do that, and I think the most common feedback I'm gonna get from this is I wasn't doing it fast enough. However, I felt like I was scared to go faster because if I did it more quickly, I would interrupt the auto chains. So I got 26k on attempts where I tried to follow by the letter what Snowcrow said on the thing. I got 20k just autoing, and then someone in chat was like, Mug, just roll your head on the keyboard, see what happens. And just kind of as a meme, I did it and got 29. Now, that's not to say the rotation's bad, because when they do the rotation, they get 42k. I'm, nowhere near that. However, I was not able to get there. So I effectively put in, another hour on this. I tried out, this other stuff. Does this change my opinion on Weaver at all based on what I learned last time? I now know what Weave Self does. I was able to get the Weave Self buff up. I had a gross misunderstanding of how it works. So we just activate it, and we just go through each of the elements here, and there it is. Boom. Boom. I'm weaving. Oh, so huge damage, huge buffs for a time period, but I thought in the past that I had to, just like, oh, I'm not smart enough for this. I'll just put, fire elemental there. And that was apparently a huge debuff to my damage. So all that said, I know that for the top players playing this, it is amazing in their hands. I know that. I know that. However, do I think now, do I have a different opinion now? Don't talk, I'm talking. Do I think now that this would be better for the average player or someone who's thinking about trying Weaver for like the first time? I think that if you, with a little bit of practice on this, you could be a respectable damage dealer. All right, it is a little simpler than I thought it was. You could, go into this and you could, do your thing. You are effectively a melee DPS. You are almost entirely melee. You have very few range stuff with this build other than, things like Arcane Blast, but that's a small part of your damage. And you would be able to, if you want to, play the game and live as the character that is flinging around Earth and air and fire all around you like the Avatar, you can do that. You can do that. However, my overall opinion of the class hasn't changed much. The reason for that is the class's total CC. For example, right here, crowd control. You got, this is from Snowcrows themselves. Arcane Wave, Cyclone, Tidal Surge, Gale Strike, Polaric Leap. You got all these things. And they involve being in different attunements. For example, Warhorn Water Attunement, that means you gotta go into water, wait 3 seconds, go into water again. So you've wrecked your rotation for 6 seconds now, and then you can do 150 CC. If you combine all of this, you know what you've got? A Signet of Humility, or a Flesh Golem charge on a fat target. Like all of this together is not great CC. Now you can swap some stuff out. If you can like swap some stuff out, like bring in Frostbow or something, that is an option. I'm talking about just like what's in the kit if you're bringing the base kit to a fight, okay? And the CC is not good. You've got DPS for every single button, and yet I'm not able to do the DPS I can do on other classes for a fraction of the effort. And there's like no utility. There's like no utility. I recently did a video on Dragon Hunter. The F3 gave your whole group stability and Aegis. The F2 was an emergency movement skill that cleansed you of conditions and healed you. Those are just always there for Dragon Hunter. Those are simply always there. You know, this is fine as a DPS. You know, if you want to run in there and just be a tornado of molten rock, you could do that. You can absolutely do that. I don't think that these little changes that I've learned here have changed my thoughts on it. It still seems like it's more work for less payout than most of its competitors. However, that doesn't mean it's not viable. If you just really like it, you know, if you just really like the stock, you know, you could play this and you'd be fine. You'd be fine. Like, if you see a Weaver in your group, you should not just, like, assume that they're playing, like, a bad class or anything like that, because they could be better than me and be pulling 42K. I'm just saying my thoughts after trying this again for a play session and how it went for me. And they have worn off, but I did have food buffs up during the testing. Someone fussed at me last time about that. I did have it up during the testing. Like, I myself often play as a support player. I usually play the healer that is providing a lot of boons to the group and stuff like that. If this person joined my team, if I was just making a pug and some Weaver joined and they were doing 30K, that's fine. We're gonna clear the content. But if in my mind, if I'm like, you know, organizing my dream team, I don't know why I would ever pick this as a teammate. And the reason for that is Dragon Hunter can do the same damage, but just always has a high, their F2, which is high mobility, condition cleanse, breaks them out of stuff, heals them, emergency move. In trade, this guy has 14K hit points. The Dragon Hunter has AoE Aegis, AoE stability, like on their F3, and that's without even bringing like stand your ground. You know, the Scrapper can bring function gyro, which battle reses people, you know. There's just so much utility on some of the other classes, not to mention CC. This class has got damage. Like, we're going all in on damage, and we're keeping up with them. But they have all that utility on top of that. So I can't imagine ever, like, oh boy, I hope a Weaver joins our party. Just based on what I currently know. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So I, for the first time ever, revisited this. Wanted to thank you guys for watching the I Tried series. Wanted to revisit this because people thought I didn't give it a fair try. I put another hour into it. So I mean, in total now, I've spent probably like 4 hours playing Weaver, and I've tried 3 completely different builds related to it from different sources. And on the one that I got the farthest on, I got like 30K on a Golem and like 32K on Bone Skinner, where you also have the laser helping you out. That's how much damage I was able to do on like Reaper or Quickness Deadeye in 5 minutes. So I do still think it's way more effort for, you know, less bang for your buck, and it's got way less utility and way less CC. It's viable. Maybe I'm just really freaking bad at it. All right, that's it. That's our revisit to Weaver. Was I wrong? I was wrong about Weave Self.